Hi there and welcome along to another workout for you to row along to. Now today's row is going to be 20 minutes long, and for the people that are gradually increasing their time and experience on the rowing machine, this one I'm going to do at that 20 strokes a minute low intensity 5 out of 10 effort pace, okay? Because it's important to kind of get into the longer durations at the lower intensity to build up your time on the machine before then increasing the intensity. Just mentally, physically, it's all kind of good for you that way, all right? So that's why we're doing it this way. And I'll talk to you a little bit about technique, but today I'm also going to talk to you about why we row this, all right? Because otherwise I'm just repeating the same thing over and over again, all right? And nobody wants that. So we're going to do a 4-minute warm-up before we get into the 20-minute row, and before we do that, we have to set up our machines. Now, on an RowAlong, that means setting your resistance to where you want it to be. Hopefully by now, your time on the machine, you found out where you want it to be, but what you're looking for is a nice sensation from the stroke. You don't want to be heaving against it, but again, you don't want to just be flapping through the air. If you're using a Concept 2 and the RowAlong app, the same guide goes for where to set your lever, okay? You're looking really for a drag factor of about 130, which on a clean machine has the lever set to round about 5. So that's kind of the guide to set your machine on a Concept 2, and you can read about drag factor, how to find out your perfect one later, but that thing about the stroke that I just said, that's what to look for, all right? On an RowAlong, I will do my kind of tough workouts around about 12, but today I'm going to do it down at 9, all right? But you just find your own resistance settings. It's important that you are happy. And the same actually goes for your foot stretches, to be honest. You're looking for comfort, but you're also ultimately looking to be able to come into the front of the machine with your shins in a vertical position. Because if you are set too high in the foot plates, it can get a bit tough to get there. If you're set too low in the foot plates, you can go past that and your backside goes out from underneath you and you lose power. So a good guide point for here is that you have the strap covering the bottom lace in your shoe, the horizontal one, and then you can adjust from there, okay? Make sure that you're comfortable, right? But that's kind of where you kind of set it first if you don't know where to set it, all right? So we're going to get into this 4-minute warm-up finally, and I'm going to do this at 20 strokes a minute, and we're going to start off at a really light intensity and build up after we get 1 minute into this, then do a little bit of drills, then we're ready for the main workout. So, cool. We are going to get going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. And when I say a light intensity, I really do mean a light intensity. Just for this first minute, all I want you to do is think about connecting your feet to your hands. And what that means is that you are pushing your feet into the machine at the same time your hands connect the handle to the machine. And that's a really important part of rowing that I think kind of gets lost somehow in the world of all the other finer points of technique, is that if you don't push your legs at the same time your handle connects to the machine, there's no point being in the perfect forwards tilt with straight arms as you push. Because if you're wasting leg drive, none of that power is going into the machine. So after this stroke, what I want you to do is push just a little bit harder with your legs. So push. Still continue to try and think about the timing of that push and your hands connecting to the machine, but just push a tiny bit harder. And what you're searching for is an intensity where you feel like you're suddenly, well, not suddenly, but you're beginning to actually put some effort into rowing. Doesn't feel like hard work, but you now feel like you're putting force into the machine. Your heart rate is increasing, your breathing rate is increasing, but you could easily do this for 20 minutes, which should be a good thing because this is the pace you're going to be rowing at in our main 20-minute workout today. However, let's take one more stroke and then take one foot out of the straps. Forgot what side the other strap there. Put it on the ground and continue rowing. So with just that one leg still strapped in, what you should find is that it's a lot easier to roll far enough forwards for your shin to be in that vertical position. Okay, and that's like the ultimate compression to be in to then push out with the right amount of power. Let's swap legs or feet and then continue rowing. As you see, that took me like 5-6 seconds to change over there And that's perfectly fine. This is really just a drill, just to open up your hips, help you think about sliding forwards just far enough that your shin is in a vertical position. You can start to program that into your head. Let's take one more here, and then put both feet back in. Legs straight, and row with your back and arms. So that means swinging over your back, then pulling in your arms, and then releasing your arms and tilting forwards with your back again. The important thing here is that you lead with the backswing to pick up the power, but then you finish with the backswing when you're recovering again, okay? So back, arms, arms, back. Now let's roll into the front and just push out with your legs, holding your arms straight and that forwards tilt. It's really important that you get used to pushing out from the front of the machine with your arms straight. It's just as important you get used to the forwards tilt too, but more people need to iron out an early arm pull first before they can think about anything else. Let's take one more stroke here, just as we hit 4 minutes. So there you go, that's the warm-up all done. Very simple one, but like I say, today is a very simple row. So have a quick drink, keep on moving up and down the rail, and I'll quickly explain one more time what it is we're doing today. Okay then, so while I'm saying this, have a quick wiggle of your backside as well, just to release the pressure of the sit bones down on your glutes, which can cause a little bit of tenderness to your backside. So today's row is going to be 20 minutes long. We're going to do it at 20 strokes a minute, and we're going to do it at that 5 out of 10 intensity that we were rowing the second minute of that warm up at, okay? So it's an easy row. This is a low intensity, easy row, but I'm going to talk to you about why we're doing this when we get into the row. I'll also talk to you a little bit about technique, because of course it's me, and I'll try and be a little bit entertaining as well, because it's me. I try and be entertaining with this stuff. I know I talk a lot, all right? But what else are you going to do, okay? So, right, probably quite a lot, to be honest. So, if you've had your drink and you've had your wiggle, we're going to get going, all right? I might as well just get rowing and shut up. So, here we go then, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Right, so let's just get back into that rhythm of 20 strokes a minute first. I'm not going to start whacking you with technique or motivation or anything yet. Let's just find your rhythm. Remember, you can follow me for stroke rate. If you're finding it tough to kind of hold a certain rate, then just look at the screen. And when I drive, you drive. When I recover, you recover. Or you can just close your eyes, listen to the whoosh of the machine, who knows. Or of course you can just look at the counter on your machine and make sure that you are rowing with one stroke every 3 seconds. Now quickly give you a very, very, very brief headline technique. Remember, straight arms at the front of the machine with a forwards tilt over your hips, and then hold that position as you push with your legs. Keep your arms straight in the forwards tilt for at least half of your leg drive, and then swing your back, finishing off with a pull in of the arms. Look at that, I just covered the major points of technique in less than 30 seconds. So why does it normally take me 20 minutes to talk about technique? That's the big question. I have to confess, before hitting record on today's video, I was reading some comments on, was it YouTube or Discord? I can't remember. And someone said, you'll enjoy the RowAlong videos. Some might say John talks too much. Yes, I do talk too much. But like I said in one of the previous videos, I'm kind of just figuring out I eventually just become white noise. where you kind of hear me speaking and you'll pick out the odd part of what I'm saying, but actually it's not like you're studying for an exam. You're not holding on to every word I'm saying, but hopefully it's just enough of a little chatter away to keep you company. And to be honest, I have no idea what I'm about to say next, so it's just as much a journey of discovery for the two of us, especially as we get into these longer rows. Like the first 5-minute workouts in this, or in the Zero to Hero playlist that I have, couldn't really talk about nonsense. I only had 5 minutes to try and get across technique and why we were doing it. But once you get into 20-minute, especially when it's a steady state and I don't have to keep on telling you to change stroke rate and intensity, oh, the space I have in front of me to talk nonsense while we're rowing together and find myself amusing. I don't find myself amusing. It's like the dad joke thing. We know we're not actually funny, but you tell a dad joke almost because it's expected of you. So, why? You'll have noticed that a lot of my rows tend to alternate between like doing one that has some intense rowing sections in it, and then other ones that are like this one, long and slow. You might be thinking, surely long and slow isn't as beneficial for me in terms of performance and speed and power as if you were just sitting on the machine and constantly rowing as fast as you can. But the truth is, both of them work in harmony with each other to help you become fitter. And then, on top of that, if you have any hopes about improving your performance on the rowing machine, they also improve that. But if you can just mix up low intensity, like if you're used to heart rate zone training, it'd be called zone 2 training. If you can just get used to mixing up this intensity with then the really fast stuff, the zone 5 stuff, then what you're doing is attacking your body's fitness, power and strength capabilities and improving them from both ends. It'd be like, you probably heard the phrase of burning a candle from both ends. Well, imagine you were trying to make a longer candle. Well, by mixing up low intensity rowing in one session and then higher intensity rowing in another session, this is like adding wax to your candle on both ends to make it bigger. It's the opposite of burning the candle on both ends. Not entirely sure that analogy works, but hopefully you find it will. Sorry, I have to apologize. I've just noticed that I've got a big fluffy tuft of hair sticking out the back of my head. I think it's time for a haircut. Anyway, sorry. I'll try and stop preening myself for you. Get back to rowing. But the thing is, you can only successfully, well, not only, but you will find more success building your speed and power when you have developed a strong fitness base, a strong foundation. And that's what rows like this are for. Now, when you're looking to increase the amount of time you're able to row for, then purely or simply at the very base level, a row like this is just about teaching you that you can easily row for 20 minutes. You've definitely got it in you. And by not working too hard at a kind of a comfortable intensity here, you don't begin to fear the prospect of rowing at 20 minutes. Not that you should ever fear a workout, of course. You can look at something with a bit of trepidation maybe and say, hang on, this one's not going to be fun. But if you're actually coming up to a workout and you're scared of it, you might need to do a little bit of mental preparation. Even a 2K time trial, which sucks. I don't fear it when I do it. I just think, well, this will be tough. So anyway, where have I gone? Come back, John, come back. So, if you're trying to increase your time, maybe you're aiming to one day be able to row for an hour, then all you need to do is every time you come back to the machine, when you feel you can do a bit more, just add 5 minutes. And within a few sessions, you'll find that you're able to row for an hour at low intensity pretty easy. And then it comes down to performance. It's how you row that hour that then becomes the challenge. Hang on, we're about to hit the Bon Jovi moment. There we go, it's Bon Jovi time. We're halfway there. But really, these low intensity 20 strokes a minute rows are vital for two reasons. One, it gives you time and space to work on your technique. Okay, when you're rowing at 20 strokes a minute, because you have 3 seconds per stroke, you can really think about getting into the right positions, about hitting that rhythm of the stroke, taking your time on the recovery without needing to stop or pause at any point in order to artificially go slow. So you're still wanting a 1 second drive and then 2 seconds recovery. But those 2 seconds really, you can split into the handle away in the body rock as part 1, and then the roll to the front of the machine as part 2. So I'm never stopped. I'm always transitioning between the drive, the kind of easing forwards, and then the slide forwards. And this 3 seconds per stroke lets you work on that in a way that if you were rowing at 30 strokes per minute, you're in such a rush going backwards and forwards. It's like a blur. So that's part of the value. So that way you can grind in a good technique so that it becomes your muscle memory, that when you are rowing at higher stroke rates, higher intensities, your default stroke, your technique, returns to what you're trying to grind in here, rather than a sloppy, flappy mess. Which I'm hoping you're not a sloppy, flappy mess. Hopefully you're now rowing with a good rhythm, dancing with the machine, thinking about hinging forwards and backwards over your hips with your upper body, and only pulling in your arms at the back of the stroke. But from a fitness point of view, this is where the low intensity zone 2 rows are really important. And that is in building your foundation fitness. And it really is like thinking about building a house or a skyscraper, where you need a strong foundation to be able to hold up the rest of the building. And this is where, when I was saying about performance rowing is only as good as your base fitness, that's what I mean. You might be able to row with lots of power at a high stroke rate, but if you can only do that for 30 seconds before your cardio system blows up because you have no core base fitness, there's no point being that strong. And so this is where you build your fitness. And it's, I mean, the worst part about rowing like this is just that it's not very exciting. I mean, as much as I try and make them entertaining with my chats and stuff, even I know you're not going to get any parades for completing 20 minutes at a low intensity. But what this does is it sets you up to be able to row those sessions that you will get a parade for. I mean, I'm not going to organize a parade for you. It's down to one of your friends to do that. But you get what I mean. And so these low intensity rows, they help to strengthen your heart. They help your body develop the skill to balance the glycogen burn in your muscles and when to tap into your fat deposits. Because if you work out at max intensity too quick, too soon, what happens is your body burns through the glycogen stores, but your body can only convert fat to energy at a certain rate. So if you're working out really hard, you eventually just exceed your body's ability to burn fat for fuel, and that's when you just can't go on. Whereas these low intensity rows, your body knows that it needs to get into a fat burning state, and so it starts to kind of, let's say, prepare itself while already burning the glycogen that's already in your muscles for fuel. Your body's like, oh, hang on, I'm probably going to need to go into a fat burning state soon, so let's get ready for that, and starts to balance itself off so that it becomes better at burning fat for fuel too, which is not only a good thing when it comes to your energy when you're rowing. But obviously, if you're looking to burn excess fat, then it'll help you on that journey. Remembering, of course, that if you're looking to actually lose weight, you have to kind of look at what you're eating as well. But really, when it comes to your energy and your capacity and your fitness when rowing, it then becomes how rowing at this kind of an intensity has a great effect on your mitochondria in your blood cells. And if you think of them as like little power stations, in fact, before, I've explained it before as like your mitochondria is a little boat in the water. And what you do is, or what we would want, is to be able to fit in as many people in that boat as possible. And the more you train at a good fitness boosting intensity, the bigger and more efficient your boat becomes at carrying people. And that's how you get fitter. That's how you're able to last longer from a cardio point of view, not from an energy point of view, but literally from your muscles and blood, the cardiovascular system, everything coming together. Just gets better when you row at this intensity. You don't have to kill yourself by going full whack all the time in order to be able to improve your fitness. This kind of a row is just as effective, building up your foundation fitness to allow you to row for longer and then allow you to row faster for longer when that day comes. And so that is why you'll see this kind of a row pop up time and time again. Look at that, 20 minutes done. So continue with some light rowing if you wish, just to help yourself cool down. Remember, of course, I do have a separate cool down up here that you can check out. Do your 2-minute cool down, then do some stretching afterwards. If you are stopping for the day, then do make sure and stretch your quads, your hamstrings, and your glutes, possibly your shoulders as well. But if you're off to do something else, go do some resistance training or something, make sure and do some kind of a cool down and stretching afterwards, all right? So there we go. So that's a 20-minute row. And for me, that flew by, but then I was talking away to myself, so of course it's going to fly by. Hopefully it did for you too, all right? And I really do hope you enjoyed that 20-minute row at low intensity. It's so good for you. I mean, hopefully I sold it well enough to you to say that that's a vital row to be able to do. Yes, it's not the most exciting in the world, but it really is one of the most beneficial rows you can do. Once you take that up to 30 minutes at that rate, that's just the sweet spot of how to build up your fitness and your capacity for rowing. Okay, so once you get there, perfect. All right, so we're done. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me on this one. The last thing really to say is to give you a hashtag for today's row. And I'm gonna go for vital, okay? That's all it is, because that kind of a row is vital, okay? So hashtag vital is all you have to do if you're gonna post it on any of your socials. And again, people will go, what? What does that mean? So, and maybe they'll check out the row and check out your results, and everyone will go, wow, you're amazing. And that's how you get your parades. Look at that. It's almost like I meant this. It's almost like this is all designed. So thanks once again for joining me for this one. I will see you in a future row. Until then, please take care of yourselves. Be well, and bye-bye.